And you're very welcome back to the programme. It is Wednesday morning. That means we are joined in studio by Gabriel McSharry, our medical herbalist and nutritionist. And of course, if you have questions, you can send them in to us now to 083 3500 530, which is our text, and you can call us at 0818 365 500. Now, Gabriel, the first question today, this listener rang a few minutes ago and she said she's a 73-year-old lady, but she seems to have dead skin all over her body. She has been using a cream on it. Is there anything else that she can maybe use?
Yeah, I'm assuming she got it checked out for anything sinister or serious. If it's just dead skin from dry skin, it's just scaling maybe. On a nutritional level, I'm going to have to say oils definitely would be a big one here. And and water, nearly like a car, oil and water. But oils are very beneficial for everybody, specifically in old age. Cod liver oil is a great one. Fish oil is a great one. Evening primrose oil, specifically towards the skin, so it's good for hydrating skin and as a skin tonic. Coconut oil, flaxseed oil, butter, Irish butter. So these are all something she should largely increase. She can take the majority of them as in supplement form, as capsules or just off the spoon. I guess she needs to look at a diet in general, make sure she's getting good nutrition. Other than that, I mean, topically, there's a lot of products out there, moisturizers and so on. Even some of the kind of inverted commas natural ones have stuff in it that I can't even pronounce. But aloe vera, you can get under 100% aloe vera gel, superb for a natural moisturizer, and it's nutritive topically. So there are a few things she could try.
Could even that dry dead skin be down to not drying herself properly or something like that, or would that add to it? Or?
Well, possibly, yes. It could be an allergic reaction that she's developed. Yes, you can develop it in old age. I mean, it could be a lot of things, really. Some sort of atopic dermatitis that can be, if it just came out of the blue at this stage, it's probably unlikely to be psoriasis or eczema, one of the autoimmune atopic dermatitises, but more likely to be something like a contact dermatitis. So if it just came on, say, in the last month, possibly due to pollen, we're coming into allergy season for airborne allergies. Other than that, I always look at diet for certain things that could be causing it.
Okay.
And on a nutritional level.
Now, this listener says she does a lot of walking, but she's got a very painful heel. Is there anything she could take or anything that she could do?
Right, I wonder, does she have a thing called heel spur? It's where, like, for whatever reason, you grow a small bit of bone out of your heel. Like, I guess, a spur. Now, the heel is a ball, and it should be a ball. And as you walk, the first thing you put down on the floor in front of you is your heel, followed by the toes and stuff. And if you can imagine, there's a little spur there that's very painful. So something like that is probably caused by the same type of thing as osteoarthritis. And then for that reason, diet and herbs and so on can be very important. If it is a spur, you can see it by X-ray, and I'm not too sure how to get rid of it. It's probably a surgical procedure, maybe to get rid of it. But if it's not that, in general, if it's a trauma from an injury, you should really relax it for a period of time. Certain herbal oils you can use topically, like a tiger balm is really good. It's rubefacient. It takes the pain out. But I'd get to the source of the pain. Like, why is your heel in pain?
Now, this listener, 23-year-old girl who has overactive thyroid, diagnosed last week, just needs another blood test to totally confirm it. But what would be the best diet for this?
Yeah, so if it's overactive, it could be autoimmune thyroiditis, in that the thyroid is inflamed and therefore producing more hormone. And this is an autoimmune condition. Now, autoimmune conditions is about 110 or more of them. This is one of them. There's the diet for autoimmune conditions is the same. It's generally a little complex, but it's generally to curb inflammation in the body. So specifically to thyroid, however, we have certain foods that contain a constituent called goitrogens. Now, they're generally deactivated by cooking or fermenting, but they're not totally. And these sometimes can affect the thyroid, and they are found in vegetables of the cross, like our cruciferous vegetables. So offhand, the common ones I can think of are cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, and it'd be nearly worth cutting down them for a period of time until things stabilise. If you consume any soy-based products other than traditionally fermented ones, I'd avoid them. So soy milk, soy protein isolate, soy spread, soy yogurts, and on. Avoid these. These can, in certain individuals, be the cause of an overactive thyroid gland. And it gets more complex too, that the thyroid needs iodine. So, some of the blood tests you've got done there to be TSH and to be T3s and T4s. And then 3 and 4, they're iodine molecules. And be it underactive or overactive, the thyroid gland needs iodine. The body needs iodine. All the glands. The ovaries, hypothalamus, pituitary, testes, all adrenals, all glands need iodine. So, iodine-rich foods, I think, would be of benefit. And they're generally sea vegetables. There's certain herbs, kelp, and stuff that are quite beneficial. But traditional Irish ones, dillisk and Irish moss, and that will contain levels of them. And things that compete with iodine in the body, so other halogens like fluorine and chlorine and bromine, and these compete with iodine in the body and displace it. So very, very important for people with underactive thyroid to remove these, but any thyroid condition. And where do you get them? Well, they add fluoride to the water, they add it to toothpaste and medications, they add chloride to the water. It's in disinfectants and certain environmental chemicals. And bromide is in some baked goods, but more commonly in the environment, it's in our couch and our curtains and our carpets as a fire retardant. So these things are toxins, and as much as you can, as much as possible, avoid these in the diet as well. That'll be beneficial.
Okay, a little girl, age 4, has Crohn's disease, suffers badly with mouth ulcers. Is there anything herbal that you could recommend? Yeah,
well, mouth ulcers is a symptom of Crohn's. It comes along with it, especially in the corners, which is called angular stomatitis if it's in the corner of the mouth, but also ulcers within the mouth. In general, what you do is treat the autoimmune condition, treat Crohn's. So there's a certain diet for Crohn's, even though, some of the world leading gastroenterologists would say food has nothing got to do with it. I completely disagree. The colon is the organ of that breaks down and absorbs food, and to say food has nothing got to do with it, I think is short-sighted. There's a certain diet called a specific carbohydrate diet, and it's outlined in a book called Breaking the Vicious Cycle. And that's authored by a lady called Elaine Gatchal, who unfortunately died there a few years ago. But you get it on Amazon. It's I haven't seen it in the bookstores in Ireland. It's kind of an American Canadian based book, but it outlines a diet that you should really get on as soon as possible. I think it's extremely beneficial for Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. The ulcers in your mouth are very much just a reflection of the ulcers within your small intestine or large intestine. I mean, the digestive system runs from our mouth to our anus. It's all one system, and you know, with Crohn's and colitis, it's not just ulcers down in the gut. We get them in the mouth and that. But I guess to get to the root cause of a treatment, you get on this autoimmune diet. Certain herbal medicines like anti-inflammatories, boswellia, turmeric, have been shown to be of benefit in inflammatory bowel disease. But to use, I mean, topical stuff, there's certain gargles you could use with certain herbs like myrrh or salvia or golden seal. So a few drops of the tincture of each into a glass of water and swish round the mouth and either swallow or spit, depending. And these are generally antibacterial, antimicrobial, and would tend to heal up the ulcers.
Now, anything... Ask this caller just... Oh, yeah. Is thistle milk good for psoriasis?
Yeah, it's called milk thistle or St. Mary's thistle. Botanical name, Silybum marianum. Yes, it's good within a formula. I'd put it into a formula for atopic dermatitis, along with maybe one or two other liver herbs that have a specific skin component. The way it works, would say the pharmacodynamics of how it can be of benefit with psoriasis is that in sometimes people with psoriasis or eczema or atopic conditions, their liver could be under pressure. And milk thistle is quite an amazing liver tonic for speeding up phase 1, phase 2 detoxification of the liver, rejuvenating the liver. So it increases the liver ability to rid toxins from the body. And in some cases, I've definitely seen where in conjunction with like psoriasis, the digestion will be sluggish, so there could be constipation there, or some of your other organ of elimination could be weakened, and therefore sometimes we use the skin. If the colon isn't eliminating toxins, we send them to the skin, and in cases like this, it can be of benefit. But how it works is, if your liver is working optimally, it'll be of benefit to your skin. And this is where milk thistle comes into the equation.
Okay, anything to prevent snoring?
Yeah, it's a good one.
Millionaire if you sort this one out.
Yeah, I wrote an article about it actually, and I have it on my website. So I mean, there's an emerging condition, we'd say, and it's very much a progression from an oldish condition called Syndrome X or metabolic syndrome, and it's they call it sleep apnea. Now, sleep apnea I see as kind of all prior to apnea, you were probably snoring for years. So snoring isn't something to be sneezed at. It's something to be taken serious, in my opinion. If it only happens the odd time, every few months, maybe when you're at a wedding or you have a few pints and you've had a lot of alcohol, I wouldn't worry too much about it. But if it's something that you're a nightly or daily snorer all the time, apart from it being very tough on your spouse or your partner, it definitely will give an insight into the whole body, in my opinion. And you should take into account blood sugar levels, make sure they're optimal. And this can be done by a glucose tolerance test that you get in your GP's office after fasting. But also weight is very important, so hip to waist ratio. And obviously if you're carrying more weight, there's generally more weight in the neck or around the area, your airways, which can cause snoring. Other things with apnea, are a sedentary lifestyle and stuff. If you're exercising more, the airways work a hell of a lot better. Blood lipid levels, if you're a smoker, if you're a drinker, high blood pressure, all these things need to be taken into account, just like in metabolic syndrome, and this is how you would address snoring. So probably the first most obvious one, if you're overweight or obese, normalize weight function, get BMI into normal range between 18 and 25. And the other one that I diligently pursue would be blood sugar levels. So get all the processed sugars out of your diet and reduce grains and alcohol, and processed foods in general. And this would be a good way forward, in my opinion.
Okay, repeat the name of the book that you mentioned.
It's called Breaking the Vicious Cycle, and author Elaine Gottschall, Gottchall, or something like that. But if you maybe search it on Google, and then you can get it off Amazon. But everyone who got a diagnosis of inflammatory bowel disease, ulcerative colitis or Crohn's, should really get this book and give it a go for 3 months. The diet, it's a very nutritious diet, and it can be very beneficial for a lot of people.
Okay. Bungleweed and verbena, good for thyroid.
Never heard of bungleweed, but it's verbena can be good on I suppose an endocrine level, more so that the thyroid produces hormones, and like our hormones in our body don't really work on their own in a little area. It's a big symphony. So our thyroid hormones talk to our digestive hormones, insulin, talk to our stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, noradrenaline, talk to our sex hormones. And so to get the symphony right, verbena can come in there where it works on the stress hormones. Now, it may have an action on the thyroid that I just can't think of offhand. Bungleweed, I never heard of it. Maybe bladder wreck is maybe what they were thinking of, or is more of a name that and also a botanical name, Fucus vesiculosus, and like many sea herbs, they're generally have the name Fucus in them, but these are really good for nourishing thyroid function. To do with underactive thyroid, you'd use certain herbs. If it's overactive, you'd probably use different herbs. There is herbs there that inhibit thyroid function, and maybe the two you mentioned do, but I just don't know offhand.
Okay, and finally, what do you think of Vega allergy testing?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, what is Vega? It's possibly where you're hooked up to a machine, right? You hold a probe, and it like creates an electronic circuit, and within the circuit then they place foods, and I think they can be of benefit. Allergies, food allergy testing is something I did a lot of research into over the last, I suppose, 12 or 15 years, and sometimes if you did them all, they could spit out different results, and it could leave you very confused and so on. And with the Vega test, I find that it will generally, if you have allergies, some of the main culprits are going to be one of, or maybe some of, or maybe all of the 8 hyperallergens. And they're like wheat, gluten, dairy, nuts, soy, shellfish, citrus, and maybe one or two I just can't think of. But the point is, the Vega picks these up, but if you're having a lot of allergies for a long time, 6 months, 12 months, and then you see someone, other things are going to show, other things are going to respond in these tests. And sometimes you can walk away maybe with a list of stuff to avoid and a list of stuff to eat, and it could be really restrictive, very restrictive. And sometimes I've seen some diet sheets that are, I believe, too restrictive, where it could lead to nutritional deficiencies long term. So, I mean,
just be careful of them. I suppose.
yeah, the approach is a bit of a long road, but it'd be to first take out the hyperallergens. Well, this is the approach I use. I find it very effective. Take out the hyperallergens, and then over time, monitor the improvement over 8 to 12 weeks, and then work at it depends on the symptoms. Then if they're still there, then work a bit more finely on the allergies.
Okay. All right, Gabriel McSharry, medical herbalist and nutritionist, thanks a million for joining us on the programme this morning. Of course, you're back with us again next week. Rejoin us after this break.